first of all, thank y'all so much for coming. We are so excited to show you Math Night. I do want to encourage you, we will have a second Math Night in spring, and we will need you to come back on the spring one as well. The spring one, we will be talking a lot more in depth about strategies and things to do, because that's right before, it's probably right before our DBA, which is the end of the year district assessment. And so we really want to give you an opportunity to ask us questions, to show you some ways that the questions are worded, and what we've been working on all the second 6 weeks, or second semester of school. Sometimes this works and sometimes it doesn't. Okay, so our first slide is be positive about math. We want to turn this, you guys know what I'm talking about, to this, okay? Our number one thing that our students battle is confidence. A lot of our friends come to us and the first words out of their mouth, I can't do math. We haven't even started math. I can't do it. Everybody can do math. You know, so it's just building that confidence is just a really big part of what we do, because they have to believe. Hi, come on in. They have to believe that they can do it, and once they kind of start going, I can do this, I can do this, it's amazing at how great they become at it. Yes?
How do you go about building that confidence?
Just by, you know, by having a positive attitude. A lot of times parents will say, you know, I was terrible at math. Oh, well, okay, well, you were terrible at math, so I'm going to be terrible at math. You know, so you just kind of have to watch the way you phrase things to your kids. You know, yes, math is hard. Math is hard, and when we introduce topics, it is hard, and you have to say, you know what? I know it's hard right now, but with practice, you're going to get better. And together, we're going to get you where you need to be.
I guess, I'm sorry, my question should have been more directed. How do you guys build confidence in math in here?
By practicing every single day, by telling them they can. Really and truly, it's by allowing them to take ownership of their own learning.
Yes.
That's our biggest goal. Every day we work on take control of your own learning. And the way we do that is, this is all of their thinking. This is not Ms. Bernstein's thinking. This is what the kids said to me. What I wrote on here was 54. And I said, tell me how we're going to get to 54. That was my question. And then we started talking, and someone said, oh, 50 plus 4. Okay, so I wrote 50 plus 4. I said, well, what do you call 50 plus 4? One of my kids go, well, that's just expanded form. Oh my goodness, you're a math genius. Expanded form. And then I said, okay, what's another way? Well, then someone said, oh, 20, 20, 10, 4. No way. Let's see. Well, what's 20 and 20, 40? Well, what's 40 and 10? That's 50. 50 and 4 is, that's 54. And then we just kind of work all the way through it, you know? And there are still kids here who draw the pictorial models. This is 10, 20, 30, 40. But then there's 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, and then 54. And then we talk about, okay, so 54 can be 4 10s and 14 1.
And you know, in the classroom, they'll say something, and maybe it's not correct, but at that point, that's a teachable moment.
Yes.
You say, you know what? You got us halfway there. And then at that point, you go, can you call on a friend to help us? And you give them ownership of what they did do. And then they can call on a friend to help them.
Which is
So then
kind
they
of
have half ownership. Or if they miss it, you go, wow, I'm so glad you did that, because that's a common mistake. Now we can come at it from this direction. I'm so glad that happened, because it's happened to me, it's happened to other students, so you can take that as a learning moment. It's every little day that you build that confidence.
Right, and that's kind of what happened here. They were going through, and they got about right here, and they're like, oh, okay, I'm getting a little complex for myself. I said, okay, well, let's back up. Let's start back. And I said, okay, well, what's 100 minus 50? 50 is okay. And then we're at 70, and then we kind of worked, never wrong, we just started working through it together as a class to come up to 54, you know, collaboratively. So that kiddo still felt like, look how awesome I was. I made 54, you know, and he did, because we did it together. And so this is a big way. This is called Number of the Day Math Talks. We kind of do it, you know, at least 3 days a week, if not more. It's just according to what our schedule is, you know, we have computer and everything else. So really, be positive about math with your kiddos. They can do math, they have to learn to do math, and the more we can encourage them and the more positive that we can be about it, just the better off it's gonna be for everyone. And then they won't look like this, they'll look like this.
And I always say, it's called a problem for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
It's a math problem. It's like a little mystery that we have to solve. And sometimes we're not gonna always get it right. And even mathematicians with PhDs, they
That's right.
sit there for weeks and weeks and months on the same problem. We just gotta keep working through it, because it is a problem. So we take what we know and then figure out what we don't know using that. And sometimes we need to call on a friend to help us. So we really work together to solve the problems. And it's that, telling them that it's okay, we can't always get it right the first time, but don't give up.
Yep.
We'll get it. If we can't get it, we're gonna go to an expert. And then they become experts. And students start helping each other, because you see what they're doing and you make them an expert. Oh, well, John's an expert today, and you have them go around and be the expert. Because the kids are always good at something.
Yes, ma'am.
And at one given time, they're going to be an expert.
You know, and it's like, you know, our saying in our classroom is, the only way you learn is, and I always go is, and they go, through mistakes, because that is true. You know, if you knew everything, then why would we be here? The only way you learn as a person, even me included, the only way I even learn is through the mistakes that I make. So, and this is our math happenings. This is what we will be learning about. This right here stands for the second 6 weeks. This right here stands for the third 6 weeks. So if you look, we are gonna start talking next Monday. Next Monday?
Yes,
Yes.
next Monday.
Sorry, my days are blue. It's a strategies for two-digit addition and subtraction within 1,000. Okay, so your kiddos counted up to 120 last year. They added to 20, and then we're like, okay, we're gonna go ahead and go to 1,000. Okay, and look what they threw in here.
Oh, see,
Money.
we're doing place value first.
Oh, did I skip it?
We are counting to 1,200 first
Sorry.
before we start, yes.
Sorry, I skipped it. So place value to 20, so we, or to 1,200, so we have to start there so that they understand the different place values. You know, that 4 tens and 14 ones is the same thing as 5 tens and 4 ones. You know, so we have to kind of build that in so that they understand the different place values and how to manipulate numbers, which is a big part of what we do in
Yes.
school. And then financial literacy. Yes, we discuss financial literacy, spending and saving. Talk to your kids about that. Are we spending money or are we saving money? And they'll always say on us out, we're saving money. No, you're still spending it. Okay? You're still spending it, you know, because that confuses them. So spending and saving, and then we go down to the addition and subtraction for 1,000 and money. If you have, we'll get to that in a minute.
Mhm.
And then, let's see, if you
More
notice, that's
additions.
24 days. This is the entire 6 weeks. And the reason why it's the entire 6 weeks is because it's one of the most challenging things that we teach in second grade. Okay? So we start here, and we will practice it all year long. The things that your kids learn, they don't go away. We go back to it, we go back to it, we go back to it.
And yes, I'm not sure, if, you know, these tests, if you haven't noticed them coming home, and if you notice on the bottom, these are the TEKS, and I tell the children that too, because I know some of you have telephones that go on the internet, you might have computers at home, iPads. You can look up the little TEK that's in here. It's real tiny because I don't want the kids to get confused by it. You can just put TEKS in there and look it up, and you'll probably find some worksheets, strategies, and I tell the students, if you keep missing time, then you know that you need to work on that. If you keep missing this kind of problem, then you know you need to work on that. We talk about that a lot. Don't practice all this stuff that you already know. Don't waste your time. Work efficiently and go for the ones you don't know. So you can use this as a tool at home.
Yeah.
And the TEKS are here. I know they're real small. I just wanted to get them on there, so I had to make them tiny. So if you ever need
Yeah.
a blow-up copy, I can send you the Word form of the word for it.
So, and as you see, we just practiced that for a long time. Then we go into our third 6 weeks. This is a challenging 6 weeks because it's right by Thanksgiving and all the fun holidays. Okay, and then we start doing strategies for two-digit addition and subtraction within 1,000, and we still continue money. So we're still continuing. But then we take a little break, and we're gonna hit fractions. And the reason why we do that is because they need a break. After doing it for all of this time, we need a little break, kind of readjust, get us a break in fractions, and then we come back. I'm sorry. And then the very last thing is, guess what? Extending strategies for two-digit addition and subtraction within 1,000 in money. We go back to it again. Okay? So that's 2 6 weeks that we spend on addition and subtraction up to 1,000, because it's really important. Okay? And it's probably one of the weaker things. She's taught 5th grade math before, so she can tell you, it's still a struggle, even in 5th
They
grade.
need to know they really need to know. And I know you've heard that they have these strategies that are different from what you've learned when you were younger with the carrying the one and the regrouping. We do end up there. We just want them to understand how it works, why you're putting the 10. We don't want to just teach them just move that one. We want to know that, we want to let
It's
them
a
know
10.
that that's a 10 or that's 100, what it represents. So we pull them back to the algorithm. We just want them to understand why they're putting that one up, not to just do it. We want them to understand that when they're moving that one up there, that means 10, 110, or 100.
And remember, if we don't teach them that, we are the building blocks
And it-
for the future grades.
And it will help 5th grade because we do a lot more with numbers in 5th grade.
So these are our goals. This is the short version. I can mentally add and subtract to 20. Mentally means like this, okay? We still have some kiddos who don't realize that this is 5. Okay? I'll say, what's 5 and 2? And they're still counting it up. I'm like, well, this is always 5. Count up 2, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so we're trying to get them there. We're trying to get them there. Okay, 5 and 2 is 7. And just 6 and 4 is 10, trying to get them there so that they have it with automaticity. Because we don't want to start hitting the thousands and them not knowing their fast facts to slow them down, because then it's gonna be that much harder for them. So we've spent the whole first 6 weeks practicing fact fluency. I can count to 1,200 by 2s, 5s, 10s, 25, and 100. We play a cool game called Sparkle. Okay? And basically, we get in a circle, and we start with one person, and they have to either skip count by 2s or by 5s, and then, Gerard, and then whatever number I say. Sometimes I say 200, sometimes I say 250, just whatever floats my boat that day. And I'll say, we're counting by 25, so they have to count 25, 50, 100, 150, whatever, on. And then whenever they get to 200, the next person says sparkle, and the next person's out. And so they love it, because there's a winner at the end. And so they're always like, and you can see them calculating in their little head, so that when it comes to them, they get the right answer. Because if they say something that's incorrect, they sit down, and then we go around. So they're always calculating in their little heads, trying to be prepared. And then every once in a while, somebody ahead of them will get out. And they're like, oh no, I have to recalculate. So then you start seeing them recalculate real fast in their head. So it's a really fun game to help with this. And then I can read and write numbers to 1,200 using standard form, which is just the basic number, word form, and expanded form. And our kids are actually pretty great at that. They're already pretty great at that. And we do it daily, so they're really great at it. I can compare 3-digit numbers using the less than and greater than symbol. So, and this gets a little tricky, because they're like, oh, they get the different directions mixed up. Like less than is the small side, greater than is the larger side, and just learning to read it. Yeah, right. So, it's a challenge, isn't it? But it's constantly going over it, showing them again. And then the next one is I can add 2- and 3-digit numbers using a variety of strategies. Okay, like she said, we don't just give them one and say good luck. We give them a variety of strategies. So that if they start to solve it one way, oh no, I can't figure it out, don't worry, I can go around and try a different way and see if I can get to it from a different angle. And that's really why we do it.
And the way we do that is similar to this, when we start with the addition and subtraction. We're sitting in groups and the students, it's amazing what they come up with. They lead us to the ways of adding without us even mentioning it.
Yeah.
And we usually make an anchor chart like those and put their name next to it, so we can go, well, let's use Tiamo's strategy because this is what she did, or let's use Jake's strategy because this is what he did. Oh, Jake, can you help us out because they're having trouble? So you give them ownership of that strategy when they come up with it. You can write their name on the anchor chart and they came up with it. And it's an ongoing thing. If they come up with a different strategy, we put it on there. And it all leads back to the algorithm that all of you know so well with the carrying the one.
Right.
It's just first tearing it apart, so.
And then the next one is, I can mentally add and subtract 10 or 100 to a number. So that's saying 450. What's 100 plus 450? Oh, that's 550. So that they can get it like this, knowing that we're not changing the entire number, we're only changing the hundreds. We're only increasing it by 100. The rest of it stays the same, we're just increasing it by 100 or by 10. Okay, so that's just getting them to see it's still, you know, we're just increasing it by whatever number you're increasing it by. And then this one, I can tell time to the minute. This is a hard one. We have started. We will continue till the very last day of second grade. We even have a song about it. I won't sing it because
If they want to know it, I think it was on, it's going to be on, it was on last week's test. It's on the bottom.
Yes.
Yes.
So they can sing it to you, I promise. And then it says, I can solve money word problems. Again, just because they can count money, they have to also take that and then apply it to a word problem. Okay? So if so-and-so had 57 cents and he spent, there's that financial literacy part, he spent 27, how much money does he have left? Okay, so we're doing all of those kinds of things. And again, it goes right hand in hand. And knowing that it's not a dot, it's a decimal. You know, so we start working on all of those things, just making sure that we expose them. And I know a lot of parents go, but they're only 7. Yes, that's true, but think about it. They're gonna be dealing with money the rest of their life. Okay? That is a life strategy that we have to teach at a young age. I can solve addition and subtraction word problems. Okay? They started in first grade with little numbers, but now it's moving up into more complex. Like if Miss Delgado had this many bears and Miss Bernstein had this many bears and John had 17 bears, then how much does Miss Delgado and Miss Bernstein have? What do they always want to do? Add all 3. But the question didn't ask about all 3. The question just asked about 2. So they have to learn to read that problem and decide what is the important information and what am I trying to find out. We're trying to find out what Miss Bernstein and Miss Delgado have together. That's what we're trying to find out. Okay, and that's hard for them. And another way that we do it is sometimes they throw in those tricky ones, almost always, that say, Sarah had some apples. John had 16 apples. They have a total of 20 apples. How many apples did Sarah have to start with? They're like, some. Sarah had some apples. You know, we're like, no, we gotta solve for that. You know, and so but understand, those are with much larger numbers.
Yes.
I mean, I'm using, you know, a first grade number, but we use lot larger numbers. So they have to learn to predict. They have to learn to estimate. They have a lot of skills that take place in those word problems. Any questions so far?
And at home, like, if you have a package, you can even use packages of crackers or cookies and say, okay, there's 10 gone, and we started with 40. You know, how many, I mean, there's 10 left, and we started with 40, how many did we eat? I mean, you can do simple problems, you don't have to do, you know, 1 or 2, whenever you just think about it. You know, we only have 3 cookies left, and we started with some, and we know we ate 23, how many did we start with? So just sort of working numbers into your everyday talk, having them help you fudge.
Have them count out change. If you go to Bedford Snowball, it's probably closing now, but if you go to Bedford Snowball, oh, we need $1.75. Hey, while we stand in line waiting, not long line, can you count out 75 cents out of my change purse? You're gonna start practicing that stuff. And they'll get good at it. My kids are great at it. Money, money, money. Here are just some ideas to practice money. And I will tell you, kids love to practice money. They do. So you can have them sort change. Sort it into the pennies, nickels, dimes, quarters, and they go, okay. And they're all proud of themselves. Awesome, I did it. And you go, okay, now count it. And they're like, what? They're like, count it. I used to tell my kids, if you can count it, you can have it. And they're like, yes. You know, and so they'd always get really excited about counting change. And then have them count the money in your wallet. You can have students talk about the cost of items in a grocery store. This is important.
All right, on this one, my daughters, who are in 5th and 7th grade now, when they were little, I would give them $10, and I was gonna buy them snacks anyway for the 2 weeks, and I knew my budget wasn't big, I don't like a lot of snacks in the house, so I would give them $10 and say, this is all you have for snacks. And I would find them in I would always go to Kroger, and they're getting the Kroger brand, because they realize that it's cheaper, but made by the same company. So they're actually trying to figure out how to get as much as they can for that $10, because if they were over, I would not let them buy, I wouldn't even, one cashier's like, it's only 3 cents more, nope, they have to put something back, because that gives them the value of money. And it's something maybe you do anyway, if you just let them have a few snacks. I know a lot of people don't like a lot of snacks, but even picking out a healthy snack. You just give them that $10, and it also keeps them busy in the grocery store while you're trying to shop.
Well, and it's interesting because you can say, how much do you think a house costs? $125. You know, so just talking to them about how much things cost, so that they start realizing that there's a bigger world and things are very expensive. When we tell them how much textbooks cost, they're like, what? I'm like, that textbook's $54, you know, and they're all like, are you kidding me? I'm like, no, for real, you know, so it gets pretty interesting. And then here, we can add points to make $1, okay? So basically, you can do this with a dice. You can take 2 dice and just roll them. Oops, maybe, unless you're me, and then of course you can't. And you just roll it, and you say, okay, I have 66 cents. And then you would roll it, and you get 16 cents. And you just keep taking turns to see who can come up with $1 first, or 100. Because pretty soon, like, $1 is just 100. It's 100 pennies. You know, and so that's a good way to practice as well, just using everyday dice. And by the way, you can get these $1 short. And then, that's the roll $1 game too. And then discuss spending and saving with your students. Please, if you don't do anything else, just have them know that, you know, when is it time to spend, when is it time to save? You know, my children get $20 at the beginning of the week. If you choose to buy your lunch, kiss your money goodbye. If you choose to take your lunch, then you got $20 at the end of the week. They're in high school. So then the next thing we're going to talk about is that fluency.
Addition more.
I'm so excited about this.
I love my big cards, they're fun to do. But addition more, I'll let you usually pass out all the cards, so I'm gonna let you play.
All
And
right.
this is very simple, it's similar to war, if you've ever played that, where you just lay out one card. Instead of laying out one card, you go ahead and flip out 2 cards.
Ooh, who's going to win?
And they have to add them together. Now you can decide at the beginning that the ace is 11, if you want to go there, or you can just say 1. But you need to decide that at the beginning, because they're going to go, well, I have 11. And then when you get to 1. So we're going to add them together, and I have 9, and he has 17. And these have the dots on it, so if they're still in that stage where they have to touch the dots, what I tell them is always say the larger one, 7, and then count the smaller one, 8. So they
We call
don't
that
have to
counting
count all of this. Like on his, he would just say 10, and then he could count these dots. 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. So then he wins, and then we keep going. Let's do it again. And then again, I have 8, and he has 14, and you keep going until you're done. Or you can set a timer and then
Fine.
count up if you need it to stop.
My kids
usually.
love to go until they win.
I
I
know.
won! I won! I'm like,
And then you
"Oh,
keep
no."
going through, you keep going through. And if you have a tie, then you do wars. So let's say we have a tie, then you go 1, 2, 3, I declare war, and then you turn the last 2 over, and whoever gets the winning gets to take it all. So I would take it all. So that's the card game.
This is a real fun way to just practice that fluency, okay? And it's not like, okay, what's 5 plus 6? What's, you know, because I get so, oh, what I have, I do that.
I bought these online because I just thought they were fun. These, you can actually get 2 decks of card at the Dollar Tree, just the normal size small ones for $1, and there's 2 decks in there. These were $7.99, I think, on Amazon. I just like them so much.
She likes the size.
They made me happy. I'm the one with the big dice, and I have little tiny dice. I like the.
And then we also have flashcards. There is nothing wrong with flashcards, and you can pick these up, Target bins, Dollar Store, and you know, what I would do with this is when they get it right, set it to a correct pile. When they get it wrong, set it in a separate pile. That way you can kind of see, is it a pattern that they're missing? You know, what is it that they're missing? What is it that they're struggling with? So that's just flashcards. You can pick these up for $1. Pretty much Target, Walmart, Dollar Store, Domino's.
I don't have any Domino's.
I have Domino's, but if you will do the next 2, that way maybe my voice will recover, and then you do.
Okay,
the
I'm gonna go on dice. There's something called Place Value War, and you just need a piece of paper, and mine love this, because they love beating me, because they usually beat me. And they have to have 4 drawn, because you each get a dice, and you roll it, and like, I got a 6, and then, I'll give you that one. So he has to decide at this point, I'm trying to find something to write on. So you each have a piece of paper, and you have the place value chart. You have 1s, 10s, and 100s. Well, you have to decide, where do I want to put my dice? They can't wait till they roll all 3. They have to decide at that point, do I want to wait around and see if I get a bigger number? Or do I want to go ahead and put this one, you know, in the lower number? So he got a 1, so where would you want to put yours? In the 1s, 10s, or 100s?
I'd like to roll, see if I can get a higher number,
You
but
gotta
for
put
right now,
somewhere.
maybe the 1, yeah.
So see, he'll probably want to put it in the 1s, and then mine, I'm going to put it in the 100s because I know the die has 6 sides. So then you keep going. And see, I have a 1 and he has a 4. And they have to think. At that point, you'll go, well, I want to put it in the 100 because I automatically lose them. So you have, so he puts in the 10, and I'm going to put mine in the 1. So at this point, he still has a chance. So then we roll again,
Not bad.
and right there, see, this is the tiebreaker. I have 5 and he has 6. So at this point, I go, oh, there, see, you're so close.
Oh, wow.
So they love this.
Mhm.
And then you can keep playing, because I say they have their own little piece of paper. You give them their own piece. I say, well, give yourself a point if you got it. And then they keep going.
It's a lot of
So
fun.
it's something that's simple. You only need 1 die, and it's something you just play real quick.
The next one, if I can get through it, is dominoes. The way I would start off, because we're still early, is start off with like this one right here. Okay, so you have 8, and if they don't know, they can count it, okay, and 2. So they can add those 2 together, 8 and 2, okay? And that's just simple, you know, turn them over. Oh, I have 8 and 2. You know, turn them over, and you can do it kind of like a war. Or if you just want to have them practice it, just have them practice it, however you want to do it. Now, when we get a little bit further along, you can have them do it in place values. So now this becomes a 28 or an 82, whichever. And then you have 55. And so then you can have them, add them together. And they have to be real careful with this because they always want to go, oh no, what am I gonna do? Well, obviously, you have to go back to your training. Okay, well, this gives me, you know what, a 14 here. So that means I have an extra 10. So then they start to figure out, okay, so there's 7, and then I have that extra 10, so that's 8 and a 4, and then they can figure out it's 84. Okay, so it kind of, what is it?
85, 30.
Oh, sorry. So, so that's kind of how it goes. Sorry, go. So that's kind of what they have to start doing. And it helps whenever you have these that they can count, okay? Because they're not, you know, they're only second graders. So if you have them count this, it's okay to count those. It's okay to count this, you know? And again, practice counting on. I cannot stress that enough. A lot of our kids want to start with these smaller numbers, and then they get lost in their fingers, or they get lost somewhere in translation. But if you have them start with a larger number, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, okay? Count on. Don't start with a lower number because they get lost on the bigger numbers, okay? Just like here, 5, 6, 7. Instead of going 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You know, so just teaching them count on, okay? So that's important right now.
Yes.
Now, when we get to big numbers, it's a whole nother ballgame. So that's dominoes. And then, right here, 10 skillfish. Can I have the cards, please?
You're gonna have to teach me this one, this is new for
This is new for her. I'm going to hand you 5. You get to play. I didn't cheat. Okay. And the object is to make 10. Ooh, I already have 10. So okay. So go ahead. A keying is worth 10. So, and we usually have like a 10 and an ace because the ace can be a 0. So if they get a 10, if you get a king, you have to have an ace to make it an addition problem. Does that make sense? Do you have an ace? Or you don't have 10? You have 10, but you don't have a 10 number sentence.
You can't tell me what
He's
the
like, I have a
jack
bunch of tens in here.
And then those work the same. Those are all 10, so you have to have an ace to kind of help it. Okay, so then I go, do you have a 1? And he says, go fish. Oh, I didn't draw it. No, I go, okay, your turn.
You have a 3.
I don't. And then he would go fish. And you just kind of continue through, and whoever has the most books is the winner. We do use cards, number cards. These are them. Okay, and we do have a 0 in here. And so these work a little bit better for us, but they work just the same because there's a wild card in here and a 10 in here. So it kind of works the same. And you can make, okay, queens are gonna be wild this game. Jacks are gonna be wild this game. So you can make different rules like that.
Or if you wanna make it harder, let's see if we can make 20. So then you have to get them all to 20.
Yeah, and when we get into regrouping, you can change the rules of the games all kinds of ways. Okay, so to your heart's content, but we start low here because we haven't gone up to the bigger numbers yet. And then turn over 10. This is awesome. You lay them out like memory. And then you have to turn them over and try to make 10. Nope, and they have to turn back over. And then the next person turns over, you know, because they're all laying out. Your kids can play it. If they have me, they can play it because they rock at it.
I
They
have
don't-
not played it yet, but.
It's so fun. You lay out all the cards. And so then they have to start thinking, okay, she turned over a 3 and I have a 7, so I have to remember where that 3 is. Oh my goodness. You know, and then they start paying attention and they get so excited, and when I play them, they get so excited, and somebody's gonna challenge me at Christmas, and it's all kinds of crazy up in here. So that is turn over 10 or 20 or whatever you want to do. Again, if you turn over 20, you would have to turn over 4 cards.
And adding to the 10, that's very important for mental adding. You know that you probably already do it. if you can add up to 10, because when you have 23 plus 17, you can put that 10 together and then add mentally. So, and so adding to the 10 is a very important skill that students need. It will help them with a lot of other facts also. Help them figure out regrouping. Also in regrouping, money helps. You can have them stack. I have some money that looks almost real and they love seeing it when I teach place value. We probably hear about it. But I love stacking the ones. I go, okay, and I get the kids, I just paid you $9. Oh, you went and worked some more, here's $4 more. Well, what can we turn that into? Because it's too big to put in our pocket. That's a lot of ones. And then what can we make with with 13 ones, what can we make? And then they can say, oh, well, we can make a $10 bill. So then they can trade. I said, well, come trade. I usually have a banker up there. Well, here he has the 10s. Why don't you trade him the money? And then here, give him a 10. Oh, that's nice and neat now. And we have a 10 and 3 ones. So, and that seems, they sort of like that.
And then they also
go to
realize
100.
that because they have fewer, they still have the same.
Yes. And it's the same money that they started with. I don't know whether you want to use real money on that.
And because I will be emailing out this PowerPoint to all the parents, I added the directions to the games.
Oh, cool.
Oh, I didn't do bands. This is hilarious. I call it bands. They call it something different, but I couldn't. Basically how it works. It's so fun. Okay, Miss Delgado, you have to be the
Get someone
person.
out of here.
You have to be the caller.
Get out of here.
Okay,
Oh,
we
you're
are.
calling.
Okay, now, so whoever gets it first, whoever gets the other, mine's a 4 because his is a 6. And that's, again, it goes back to adding with authenticity. And it's fun. Miss Delgado, I'm teaching you all kinds of
I
things.
know. Because I taught 5th grade the year before last, so I have a lot of 5th grade going.
So, guess my number. My kids love this. We play this when we have spare time at the end of the day. They'll be like, can we play guess my number? Okay. And basically what it is I always go, I'm thinking of a number. We start off small at 100, but we do go to 1,000. So I'll go, I'm thinking of a number between 500 and 1,000. And I'm like, but I'm gonna show you the 0 to 100 and you can move it on to 500 to 1,000. And I'll say, okay, you have to ask yes or no questions. So Ms. Delgado, ask me a yes or no question.
Is it bigger than 46?
Yes, it is bigger than 46. So what they have to do is mark off all the ones that are lower than 46. Because it can't be anything less than 46. So we take out all of this right here. That will relieve these numbers that it can be. I'll say, okay. And then somebody else, I call somebody else. Ask me a yes or no question. Anybody?
Is it bigger than 75?
Is it bigger? It is bigger than 75. So now look, we've now crossed off all of these. Okay? But your kids get creative. Your kids are super creative because they'll go, is it even? They learned to ask that early on. I'll be like, yes, it is even. And they're like, oh, we can take out all the odds. So we take out all the, that all of these are odds.
Mhm.
All of these are odds. The pattern, which is what we try to show them as well. So we take out all the odds and like, we only have half left, And so after we do that, and we take out all the odds, then I say, okay, all right, we're getting down there. They start thinking, they get excited, and then they finally come to the realization that it was not equal.
Do they have a certain number of guesses to get it?
The whole class plays. Their thing is, I call on different kids, but sometimes they're like thinking, and then this kid who asked one before, they're like, I have another one. I'm like, what is it? Like, is it blah, blah, blah. So it's just getting everybody thinking. And they do it as a collaborative group, and they absolutely love it. It's one of our favorites. But you can take it up into from, like I said, you can go 500 to 1,000. And when we do that, I move them to a number line. And so we do like 500, 600, 700, 800, 900, 1,000. And then they're like, is it greater than 700, you know? No, so we cut 700 to 1,000 out, which then leaves just this little pocket of numbers. And so that's kind of how we play that game. And again, it's getting them to think about where are numbers on the number line? Where are numbers in the hundreds chart? Now, this is our technology part. I'm gonna go ahead and open it up
But I
here.
will put
It's
the
opened
QR
on
code on
yours,
there.
but I'm gonna go ahead and open it up here.
This website right here, she's gonna tell you.
This is actually our instructional specialist math page. So she has put together a whole bunch of different math websites that you can use. Now, I will tell you, a lot of these will not work on a tablet unless you download the apps, okay? Because a lot of them have to use Flash and all that good stuff. So, but you can do things like Prodigy. You can probably click on it on yours, sorry. Thank you, Miss Dunbar. And this is a really fun game. It's very video-ish, and your kids will love to play it.
This one, she called me in the evening and told me about it, and then 40 minutes later, I was still playing it. It was fun for
Ask your
me.
teacher for your class code. Enter your parents' email if you're playing at home. First, ask your teacher for your class code and enter it here. Enter your parents' email if you're playing at home.
Can you enter your email, please? Miss Delgado, please enter your email. This is to let you know what they're doing. It's always good to get an email. Because it'll text you and say, hi, thanks for joining Prodigy.
First, ask your teacher for your class code and enter it here.
Why did you not log in?
I did.
Enter your parents' email if you're playing at home.
No, don't click there. Okay, and then they add their name and stuff like that.
So, it's not letting me log in.
It won't let you log in?
I think what it is we signed up as teachers.
Maybe.
I think they can go on and sign up as a parent.
Do, Miss Delgado? Go ahead, do the arrow.
Create a password for your account.
Just do one.
Remember to enter it twice. Where do you live?
It takes a second to set it
What
up.
grade are you in?
Make sure you do this part
Here's your
correctly.
login information.
Let me warn
Be
you,
sure to write these down.
do not do second grade yet. I would back it down and do first grade. We have not taught all the skills of second grade. If you have a kiddo that you're like, he rocks at math, please put him on second grade. But if your kids are, still struggling, you're gonna wanna make sure you put them in the first grade so they have fun.
Well, I'm glad it's telling me my login.
You just had it, yeah.
Well, I'm using my readers here and I'm hoping I can see it right.
What? Okay.
What does your wizard look like?
Now you pick the wizard.
How fun, right?
All right, am I doing something correctly? Maybe this is why I was on it for 40 minutes.
Did you log out?
No, I didn't, I played.
Oh, okay.
fine.
My children have to play on. So they're sleeping.
Hey, listen.
By the way, it helps
Come
with
on.
reading. Now watch what happens.
Whoa, hold up. I haven't even introduced myself. Then who might you be? Nice to meet you. Let's head over. Don't want to be late.
She's flying through it.
Well, you look a monster.
I don't know
Okay,
how
keep going,
come
keep
they wanna
going.
stay
Well,
here.
they're pretty tame.
the math
This
part.
one seems a bit lumpy.
We're gonna battle. Here it goes.
So they battle.
This is a wizard battle. The goal is to produce your to cast a spell. Press the attack button, then choose your spell.
So they have to answer a math question.
What is this shape?
I'm gonna go ahead and lose that.
Who's this heart?
Oh, that is kind of how this works, and it's a lot of fun. It will engage your kids for an hour. I put my oldest one who's in high school on a second grade level, and entertained for an hour. I'm like, I'm pretty sure, you're pre-AP algebra, I'm pretty sure you can do second grade math. And he's like, but it's so fun. So, I'm gonna log on.
What I like about
Oh,
it is,
sorry.
it's not, it's okay, it's not just adding and subtracting, it's other concepts also.
Yeah.
And that's what was refreshing about it.
So these are just different websites that you can get to. Many of you are probably familiar with Some Dog from first grade. Shepherd Math is great. This is a great one. This is just basic balloon pops and stuff like that. So these are real quick ones that you can do. Fast Math is what we use here at school. It's great at fluency. If your students have a hard time with fluency, this is a great one to do. They do have a login that they do, and it will log their time in to school so that we can see how much time each student is doing. Front Row is a great one. Cyber Chase is probably, it's a good one. It's a lot of fun, but there's not a lot of math, just a heads up. But all of these are really good math websites. And then if you don't do this, but if you were to scan this, it would bring up our website, and our websites have the curriculum on it. So each 6 weeks, we tell you again what we're studying. So if you're like, oh, I forgot what we're studying, it's on our website. Okay. And always call us, feel free to call us. We respond pretty quickly most of the time, unless I'm at a game or something, and then it takes a little bit longer, so. But I know this will probably just. Got any questions? Have y'all learned anything exciting and fun? Are y'all gonna go home and play back games with your kids? Yay, that's our goal. All right, well, y'all are free to leave. Thank y'all for coming. We know we took up a whole lot of time. Oh, I forgot the funny.
No, you can get up.
It says my math teacher keeps asking me questions. You think she know all that stuff by now? Which is true, because we are constantly asking them to think.